Hello and welcome to Sideways. This week we're talking about the importance of taking time off, taking time away from whatever it is you do to rest and recuperate so that you can give the best of yourself when you get back to whatever it was that you were doing. And actually, it's a precursor to us taking a break. It's the first time we've done such a thing, and I must admit we're a bit nervous about it. But we'll be back in September, so please don't forget about us and have a lovely summer. Taking a break.
How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
All right, yeah. Long day at work?
Yeah. Well, someone's got to do it, haven't they?
Well, yeah, I've been at work as well.
Yeah, you don't need to. You don't need to justify yourself. I told you that last week.
You did, but I just feel that it's the right thing to do sometimes.
You've had your tea though.
Yeah, I have had my tea. Yeah.
What did you have?
I had mushroom fettuccine. What's funny about that?
Did you make the fettuccine yourself?
Of course
by
not.
hand?
No.
What part of the entire meal did you prepare?
None. It was plant chef from Tesco's. You just heat it up in the microwave, and there you go. It's all done for you. You don't have to faff. It's fantastic.
So it was vegan fettuccine.
It was, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
How does that work then?
I don't know.
What do they use instead of egg?
I don't know. It tasted all right.
Can you find out for me?
No, I'm not that interested. It holds no interest for me at all.
All right, let's move on.
Shall we?
Yeah.
Yes, good. So, well, I've prepared my notes. And do you remember we did an episode? Well, it was back in season 3. It was episode 20, and it was called Holiday Stress.
I do. Well, I don't remember the episode it was because that would be ridiculously anal. But I do remember doing that episode and talking about. Well, I think one of the things we spoke about was our own slight disdain for holidays.
We did, yeah.
And in that episode? Didn't you also tell the story about you having to slink off in a dry country and have a drink in the toilets?
I did, yeah. I think that's right, yeah. Well, I think, yeah, that was it was in Qatar. I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Where the World Cup's going to be later on this year.
Stop talking about football.
Which I'll come back to.
Oh, all right, okay.
But yes, in that episode we talked about it was the the pitfalls really, or the problems of going on a holiday for those in recovery. Yeah, you remember, because it can be an early stage of recovery that can be a very triggery experience. So that was basically what we talked about. But I do remember you talking about being thrown in the stinging net. I was on scout camp back in the 70s.
Yeah.
That was on that episode as well.
Was it? That was 1976 Dartmoor.
Was it?
Yeah. I think Boney M were number 1 that week. And that was the long hot summer, wasn't it? It was the year we got colour television.
It was. Yeah. Well, yes, it was a long hot summer, certainly. So what I wanted to do really was just do an episode to look at the other side of the coin on that, and look at the benefits we all get from taking a break from routine. Nice. Yeah, I see what you've done there. Took you long enough to come around to that angle. It did, really. It's a very convoluted way of getting there, but there's a further reason that the timing of this episode is good, which we'll come on to at the end as well, if you don't mind. Okay. But I've got before we start.
What is it?
I was listening to Steve Wright on Radio 2 the other day, which I understand he's been slung off of his show. He's
been fired, hasn't he?
Yeah, something's gone on. Anyway, but he on his show he was talking about wood pigeons getting drunk. Okay,
right. Okay,
because apparently they enjoy feasting on sort of fermenting fruit, right? Which makes them a little bit tipsy and clumsy. And I thought, I'm not sure if I believe that. So I decided to do a bit of research to sort of verify the claim, and it's true. And it's true. They were talking about in New Zealand, they had a real problem with the native Karuru wood pigeon. I don't know if I've pronounced that correctly. I doubt it. But
well, I think we've got some listeners in New Zealand, so no doubt they'll put us straight if you have made a terrible hash of that, as I imagine you probably have.
I probably have. I'm saying it as it's spelt, and there's probably
phonetically.
Yeah, I am spelling it saying it phonetically, but you're right. It's probably a different pronunciation. But they described that particular wood pigeon as being famous for its spectacular flight aerobatics, but has a complete lack of self-discipline. Now,
what does that sound like?
That's a bit harsh, I think, really. Do most pigeons have discipline and these are out of order? But I don't know.
Well, it's difficult to know, isn't it? But I suppose if you were a pigeon and you knew that eating fermented fruit made you feel quite good.
Yeah.
As any of us would find, if you think, oh, that's quite nice, it is difficult to find the discipline to stop it.
It is.
Particularly so for, if you've gone so far that you've now got an addiction to alcohol or cocaine or sex.
I think these pigeons have an illness. It's not a lack of self-discipline.
In your research, was there much indication of rehab for pigeons?
No, apparently not. No, but what that did happen. I mean, because these particular wood pigeons, they gorge on rotting fruit. Rotting
fruit.
Well, if they find that on the forest floor, I'm sure they'll have some fruit as well. But they gorge on it, and then they fly up in the trees, and then sort of as it takes hold, they start to get drunk, and they fall out.
Really?
Yeah, and there was people at one point taking armfuls of these pissed pigeons to the vets, to get them sorted out. If we're getting turned away, I said, well, no, it's nothing we do. To let them sober up, sort of thing.
Just put them to bed and, put a bucket by them.
Yeah, they're just being clumsy and stuff. But apparently they were named Bird of the Year in 2018 in New Zealand.
Which is glorifying alcoholism there, aren't they?
I think they may be, or perhaps the pigeon just sort of aggressively threatened the judges. Perhaps there's undue influence to get them that particular title.
Yeah, it could be. Well, we know how manipulative alcoholics can be.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I might put them as my own Bird of the Year this year, actually. Yeah.
Nice. That's very good.
Because I have empathy with them. And they don't lack self-discipline. It's the way they're built.
You can see something of yourself reflected in them.
Yes, perhaps that's why I was so close to the pigeons that my dad used to keep. We used to have some wood pigeons. I don't remember them getting drunk, must have been.
Well, you don't know, do you? Because you were young at the time. Maybe your dad slipped out and gave him a, cherry brandy or something once in a while.
Anyway, let's get back to the subject matter, shall we? Because when I Googled taking a break, a whole list of things came up, in which there was articles on different areas, and there was the number one that came up was taking a break from alcohol. So there was a whole load of stuff on that. Yeah,
really.
Yeah,
interesting. I suppose that's quite in vogue, isn't it?
It is. It is.
People seem to quite like it. I mean, I know we have things like dry January and all that caper, but it seems to be something that people do at any time of the year, don't they? Right, I'm going to have a month off the drink, or whatever. So yeah, I can see why that would come up a lot.
It does come up a lot. It makes me a little bit angry because they think, it's easy to give up this drink. They don't have the underlying issues that go with it. But I can see that there's probably health benefits for those people that can't drink normally to take a break from it.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, exactly. I suppose it depends what your justification is. If you're having a break because you think you've got a problem with drink, that's one thing. But if you think, it just might be good for my body if I didn't drink alcohol for a month.
Exactly.
I suppose it's something else. Yeah,
it is.
So but don't go judging people for their life choices, Martin.
I'll have to go back onto a previous episode when I look at the judgment and why we shouldn't do it.
Exactly.
So that was number one on the list, alcohol. So that's to take a break from. It was followed closely by taking a break in a relationship. I thought,
that's an interesting one.
That's quite an interesting one. But I think it's just by popularity where people have asked about taking breaks.
All right.
And that's come up. The next one was from social media, which we've touched on.
Hang on, before we get to social, before we leave relationships.
All right, you want to expand on that, do you?
Well, just one sort of point, which it makes me think about, because when people are Googling the merit of taking a break from a relationship, if you happen to be one of those people listening at the moment, part of the problem that people have in relationships is they think that taking a break in and of itself will solve the problems, but it won't. So if there's a problem in your relationship, taking a break and then going back means that it will just be the same, except you'll have had a break from it. So rather than taking a break, it's better to try and identify and work on the things that you don't think are working.
Yeah, it makes sense. That does make sense. I've never done. Have you ever done that in a relationship? Said, "I will have a break."
No. Well, I don't know. Probably
it's the beginning of the end, isn't it?
Years. Well, probably. But I think some people see it as a kind of as a soft landing out, don't they?
Yeah, that's how I've always viewed that. When people are taking a break, it means they're not happy, and it's just a smoother way of exiting the relationship.
I can't remember her name now. On Maidstone East Station, did she say, "I think we should take a break"? Yeah, she left you all withered as you.
No. I mean, she did me a favour, really. No, Sophie, her name was. Yeah.
Oh, that's right, Sophie.
Yeah, no, there was no. We'll have a break. That's it. I'm off. Done. I'm done with you.
We're having a permanent break.
There was a drawbridge was drawn up. Gone. Done. Rain disappeared.
Anyway, taking a break from social media.
And the next one was taking a break from the pill, which is a bit of a strange one.
Taking a break from the pill. Well, I can't comment on that one because
no.
Yeah, I don't feel as if I've got anything to offer there at all.
Taking a break from the gym.
That's an interesting one, isn't it? Why would you take a break from the gym?
But I don't know. Perhaps you're because I've got to admit when I was away in detox and they had a gym there, they'd only let us go in there for a certain amount of time.
Right.
So for us addicts,
okay.
A gym can be obviously it releases endorphins and we like that.
Yeah.
But it in itself can become a very addictive behavioural pattern.
Okay, so it could be taking a break from the gym because you feel like it's becoming too much of a focus of your life. Exactly. I hope somewhere down this list is not taking a break from your therapist.
Yeah, there is actually. Is it? There is. There's only two more I wanted to mention. There's taking a break from work, which is more what I wanted to expand onto.
Yeah.
Which are surprisingly a long way down the list, but and from therapy.
Mm. But that's a very bad idea.
It is a bad idea. They didn't mention taking a break from the week because we had a little brief discussion, didn't we, about break from your own self-criticism, which is for a whole new episode, really.
Yeah,
because there's a lot in there. But it did make me laugh a little bit when I saw therapy on the list.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of taking a break from therapy, I think that's fair enough. Some people might want to do that. But again, my bit of advice there would be if you feel like you want to take a break from therapy, tell your therapist.
Yeah.
Because actually that is part of the work. You shouldn't be afraid of saying to your therapist, I feel like I need a break now, or I feel like I've got as far as I can, or I feel like you're useless and you're not helping me in any way at all. That's something that it's much more productive and constructive and healthy if you can actually raise that desire in therapy, and obviously not quite as productive if your therapist then breaks down in tears and begs you not to go.
I think it's generally accepted though when you're talking about taking breaks and that sort of thing. I think most people will see it as a break from work or indeed from a routine. Mm-hmm. And that's what I want to discuss with you and discuss the benefits of it really and see what your input is there. Mm-hmm. So I think it's generally accepted, isn't it, that it's important to take a break from the job or the routine and the demands of life in order to keep your stress levels in check. That seemed to come out in the research a lot as to why you should be taking breaks from time to time. Even breaks during the day, mm-hmm. from moving away from your desk and that sort of thing. But the longer term breaks we're looking at here, it tends to be, or it all seem to lead towards a reduction in stress and anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's important to remember, because I think we did touch on this in a previous episode, is that when you do take a break, you're not shirking responsibility. What you're doing is taking care of yourself so you will have the stamina to be at your best sort of going forward. I think we mentioned it when we were talking about as self-employed people, you and I tend to overlook breaks sometimes, or the benefits of having a break, because you just get us... I don't know if it's overindulgent, but you just get into a routine, you crack on, put people in the diary, and you don't factor in that you should be taking more breaks than we actually do. Would you say that's fair? Yeah,
I do. I mean, I think there's also something, I'm sure not every self-employed person does this, but I know one of the things I'm guilty of is I think, well, I can take, if I want a couple of hours off there, I'll have a couple of hours off there, or I won't work that afternoon or whatever. But actually, that's not the same as having a proper break, because as you say, aside from it helping you to manage stress levels, I think it keeps you fresh. It stops you from, it's inevitable, isn't it? That if you do something time after time after time after time, in the end, it just begins to feel a little bit stale. And so, stressed or not, you get to the point where you're just not able to kind of give your best. I think that's part of the problem.
It is, yeah. And I think that when I was doing the research, that did play a big part in it. But I think what I want to go through first is just to talk about the risks of not having a break, because I think that's just as important. Because in the research, it says that, the body is designed to respond to short bursts of stress, so it can handle little short bursts from time to time. Mm-hmm. But when that stress prolonged, and we get a stress response, don't we? And when that's triggered repeatedly and regularly, which often happens in stressful jobs, I think you and I have both been into that sort of environment, or a conflict-ridden relationship. I know I've been in a couple of those, that's for sure. And the situation then turns into one of chronic stress, and that's when the real health problems crop in. So little brief periods of it from time to time, probably not a bad thing, but it's when it becomes prolonged that it becomes problematic.
Yeah, you're right. Having bursts of too much stress is good for you because it keeps you on your toes.
Yeah.
But if you're constantly overstressed, that's when you're at risk of burnout. And that's a real problem for people these days, particularly as businesses, attempt to do more work with fewer people.
Yeah.
And so, one of the most effective ways of combating burnout is to make sure you take breaks. Part of the problem with someone who's feeling burnt out is their instinct says, I've got to work a bit harder to get on top of this.
Yeah.
And actually, it's the reverse of what you need to be doing. If you're feeling burnt out, even though all of your instincts will scream against it, the most effective thing to do is to say, right, I'll take proper breaks. I'll make sure there's a proper separation between my work and my personal life. I'll invest in my relationships and my interests, because over quite a short period of time, you'll find that starts to bring a little bit more balance back to your life, and that will then help you be more effective at work, which means you'll be able to get through more work in less time.
Yeah, you're right. I think their mental well-being gets severely compromised, doesn't it, at that stage when the stress has built up to a very high level, and it also, on top of the mental anguish that they can cause, there's a lot of real health problems as well that's associated with that.
Yeah.
And again, when I was looking at what happens if you get into this situation where you're constantly exposed to chronic stress, it makes you more susceptible to frequent headaches, which I remember having those when things were getting on top of me.
Yeah.
Gastrointestinal issues. Now, I had trouble saying that when I was trying to read through my notes earlier on, so I'm pleased to go through that one.
The shits, you mean?
That's the shits, that sort of thing, yeah.
Yeah.
But high blood pressure.
Yeah.
Which increases the risk of heart disease and stroke.
Yeah.
But I think when I was reading through these various different articles, there was one that was touching upon that when you get this chronic stress, even positive events can feel overwhelming if they take energy to enjoy. When anxiety takes over, and I see that a lot with people that have had anxiety issues. That have come to groups, or that's been part of the reason they've used drink and drugs to help relieve their anxiety. So even if something's good on the horizon, the anxiety still keeps them from enjoying it too much or enjoying it at all. They have to put a lot of effort into getting there.
Yeah, because it's all stuff.
When
you're overwhelmed, when there's too much going on, it doesn't matter whether it's something good or something bad. It's still stuff that you've got to attend to, which goes back to what we were saying before. Taking a break and being able to kind of separate yourself from life, whether it's positive or negative, or it feels positive or negative. That's what kind of gets you back into a space where you can deal with things that are challenging and enjoy things that are enjoyable.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I think the last point I just wanted to come on to there of the risks involved in not taking a break, which is rather poignant here as well, considering the sort of stuff we tend to talk about. There's an increased risk of drug and alcohol abuse to overcome those, to overcome the anxiety related to the stress you're in at that time. And I've got to say, a lot of people do come in, perhaps that have had a relapse, and the cause of it is a stressful situation, often relationships, but most often with work.
Yeah, because people think it's almost as if the last thing that people think about is stopping. People will tell themselves, or they'll tell you, or they'll tell me sometimes, I can't stop. It's like, I don't have any choice. I've just got to keep going. And it's really important to remember that you do always have a choice. Yeah. And this idea that I mean, obviously you can't stop life going on, but this idea that you have to relentlessly keep moving forward is actually incredibly dangerous for us. And it becomes a kind of self-fulfilling prophecy. You tell yourself, no, I've got to keep going, I've got to keep going, until it gets to the point where you can't see any other option. So I think remembering that if you don't take the breaks that you need, what happens in the end is you make yourself ill, and then you have to take a break.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a, it's a bit of a fallacy, the idea that you can just keep relentlessly marching on. It
is, and that's why we've got to go back to the point that it's really important to remember that you're not shirking your responsibilities. You're taking quite a positive step when you do take a break, even though you may be leaving work behind that you think, I really need to finish that before I go, or this project is not quite finished, or there's a lot of stress, a lot of things that can keep you at the desk, if you like, or at work when you really do need everything else is screaming out for you to take a break.
I might take a year off now.
Excellent.
After this conversation.
After I've talked to you, but it sounds such a good idea. Well, I want to go on to the benefits of taking a break. There's 2 or 3 points I just wanted to go through with you. In the first one, which came up in the research, was that they interrupt the cycle of stress, which can lead to you being overwhelmed. So it is that cycle that we talked about before, stress leading on to more stress. And then you try and combat it by staying at work and then taking drugs or drinking or whatever. And then finally, you'll get to that point which you mentioned there that you'll be so ill you're going to have to take a break anyway. So which
will also be stressful, by the way.
Well, doubly so, I'd imagine, because you're going to have to do it. You can't even plan that. It's going to happen to you at some point.
And then you'll be worried about, they'll probably get rid of me now because I'm not at work. What's going to happen? What are they going to be saying about me? They'll think I'm a fruitcake. I can't cope. It's it's completely counterproductive.
It is, and because I think by breaking that cycle, it does give you the chance, doesn't it, to restore yourself physically and mentally to a healthier place, which has got to be good for everyone, isn't it? So having these breaks, and I think sometimes you and I mentioned it earlier on about being self-employed. You can forget to put something in the diary, or you can forget to. But time runs by, and you think, "I really should be taking a break by now," and your body does start to tell you that's probably the right thing to do. And I think, we have to take notice of that. We've got to listen to those little messages that start to go, or the little indications that things need to change.
Yeah, quite right.
When you do, what are some of the other benefits? Clearer thinking, because stress responses lead to decreased creativity, it says, and memory problems. Now, memory problems have always been, certainly the discerning alcoholic will tell you that's a massive problem.
Yeah, that's a different reason though, isn't it?
It is a different reason. You can't remember where you stashed your bottles of vodka, and that causes an enormous amount of stress when you're in the madness.
But then when you're having to deal with that stress of trying to remember where you've hidden your bottles, that will make it even harder to remember where you've hidden them. Because,
it does,
it's like if you ever try and remember a name, you think, I can't remember that name. And the more you try, the more impossible it becomes. And then it will pop into your mind when you stop trying to think about it. It's like it's the same principle. It's like stop, and then everything kind of falls into place, which is counterintuitive because you think that the harder you push, the more likely you are to get a result. But actually, in this regard, it's completely the opposite.
I agree. But the other point I mentioned there about decreased creativity, I mean, I think that probably stands to reason. All the time
you get tired, don't you?
You do. And I do think that's where people get writer's block from. I'm sure it probably is, with the mental anguish of having a contract to get a novel out on time, or bands that produce it have got to get an album out on certain time. And you end up with a less than satisfactory bit of work that comes out.
I don't know what it's like in those sorts of disciplines. I was just thinking about writing. Actually, I don't know whether writing's peculiar to this, but I think with writing benefits from you just doing it every day and being okay with yourself writing shite.
Right. Okay.
Because it keeps there's something about that kind of discipline. So yeah, I mean, I think probably what you need to do is you probably need to accept in any creative pursuit that you can't be creating good stuff all the time.
Exactly. Yeah.
And if you're not creating good stuff, you don't need to work harder and longer in order to do so. You just need to keep things ticking over.
Yeah.
I think that's probably, which is kind of part of that point, isn't it?
It is. And I think the last benefit here that comes out of the research is that increased productivity. So once you take a break and you come back, your productivity is naturally increased. So it sort of makes up for that gap that you've left. And so, you're not losing anything by taking breaks.
No.
And it'll increase your creativity. It'll produce this productivity boost when you do go back. So you've got to make sure you look after yourself in those situations, because I think it will turn nasty. I think the last point's on really that being more energetic with your family and being able to enjoy life after you return, which I think is right. When you do have these breaks and you do have chance to reconnect, which I think you mentioned earlier on with your friends and your family, or to I think the phrase you used was to invest more, or to have more time to invest with your closest, your nearest and dearest.
And your interests, because they tend to be the things that go by the wayside when you're pushing harder and harder and harder to try and keep going. But actually, part of the benefit of taking a break and going back to the other parts of your life, apart from it giving you rest, is it reminds you to keep stuff into perspective.
Yes.
When all you do is work, it's easy to imagine that that's all there is. Well, it isn't. I don't think nobody ever lay on their deathbed saying, I wish I'd spent more time in the office, which I think is the second time I've said that in about the last 2 or 3 weeks. But I think it's quite important.
It's still important and still very relevant. So that's really, there's quite a lot that we haven't explored on that. But looking at the risks of not taking a break and putting that alongside the benefits of break probably leads us to what I was going to say next about, we can have a little bit of a break from recording these podcasts, aren't we?
Oh, thank God. I've been asking you for months. Every time I say, are we having a break now? You always say, no, there's too much to talk about.
I know,
and on we go.
Well,
and quite frankly, I can only get myself to sleep with a little cry some nights.
The stress is too much.
Yeah.
Well, I would have completed probably season 6 because it rounds it off nicely. But I think we're on episode 6 of season 6. So I'm happy that we take a sort of a summer break.
Summer recess.
We can have a little recess because I've still got loads on my list to do, and there's still lots I want to do. But I think we need to. There's some other ideas that I want to introduce as well. So I think it's just a good time to have a little bit of a break and want to crack on and be re-energized to complete this season and go on further. Yeah.
I look forward to speaking to the re-energized you.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, I look forward to meeting him. But yeah, going back to what we were saying before about Qatar. See, the football season is taking a break in. When is it? Sort of November time, is it? Or
it is. Yeah, it is.
A break so that they can fit in the World Cup that is in Qatar, where I did have a snidey drink in the toilets at their airport. Yes.
I don't suppose that'll feature in the World Cup at all, will it?
I don't think they mention it, but
when they show sort of goals from old finals, do you think they'll show you hurrying into a toilet with a half-litre bottle of vodka?
If I'd have got caught, I'd have been on YouTube showing being whipped in the market square, wouldn't I?
I was going to say, if you'd have got caught, you'd have been building the stadiums, wouldn't you?
I would have been, yeah. I'd have had hard labour for several years. That's not funny anyway, is it? Really, it's terrible. That could have happened.
It would have been funny if you'd have been caught.
Right. Anyway, so for the last time for a little while, then your gratitude list.
I've got 2.
Have you? Oh, good.
Yeah. Now the first one's a good one. Fits with this episode because I've had something similar in the past. But I was walking the dog the other day, and I had this sense of olfactory recall where I don't know why. I was at the Heath, and I don't know why, but I just smelt the summer holidays of my youth.
Ooh. So you can't attribute any particular.
It was the flora and fauna.
Okay.
There was just something in the air, in the grass, in the shrubs. I don't know what it was, but I kind of remembered the days up on the Heath when I was a kid, when they used to have the big sort of play shack up there where you could take out footballs and frisbees and all manner of things.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And the little kiosk with the creepy bloke who would sell you an ice cream and a hot dog.
That's it.
He's in prison now.
Undoubtedly. Been U-treed. Undoubtedly, yeah. Along with all the Radio 1 DJs.
Terrible thing to say about him. But anyway, So that was joyous. And then the other thing that I'm grateful for is I don't know why, it seems slightly random and left field, but I've got into vintage film photography recently, which I'm loving. I'm terrible at it. And I think we've covered this in an episode in the past. It's quite good for the soul sometimes to do something you don't know anything about, just for the fun of it. And of course I'm learning, and hopefully I'll get better. But there's something really lovely about taking a picture and not immediately being able to look at it.
Oh, okay. So you're actually putting a film in a camera.
I am putting a film in a camera, and then taking 36 shots.
Wow.
And having them developed.
And where do you take them to get developed these days? It always used to be down to Boots. I don't know if they still do it.
I think Boots probably do, but there is a place in town. But you can send them off places these days.
Of course, yeah.
And they'll send them back to you digitally.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
So you don't get them printed. You don't get them printed. You print them out yourself.
You can get them printed, but I wouldn't want to pay to have all of my 36 shots printed, because 35 of them probably absolutely shambolic.
And are they colour or black and white you're going for, or what's
I'm doing both. I'm running the full gamut.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that
so by the time we come back after the break, I should probably be David Bailey.
You probably will. We look forward to having a sort of a montage of your.
I'll put them on the Instagram account.
Excellent. Well, I look forward to seeing those, mate. Yeah.
There we are. That's me.
Good. Well, I've got a couple really. The first one is I'm quite grateful that. I can't say I'm grateful for funerals, because that gives the wrong inflection as to what I want to say. But I'm grateful that I had 3 funerals in the diary, and yesterday I went to the last one of those 3.
Yeah, I understand you being grateful for that.
And it was the most painful one of the 3, because it was a close friend who died, who had addiction issues. So that's it's an extra layer of grief I feel for that. But I'm grateful that I was given the honour of doing the eulogy, which was nice. Although I found that I was quite nervous about doing that. But the feedback was so good from the vicar and from people that sought me out, the people I didn't know that came up to me and said how they thought it was very good, very touching, and that I addressed the sort of the elephant in the room, which was addiction, that people perhaps didn't want to say too much about when you're standing up at the pulpit in a church. But they said I handled it delicately, and it rounded off nicely. So I was really grateful to get that feedback. I know we've always said about feedback being the breakfast of champions. It did make me feel a lot better, because I was dreading the day, dreading how it was going to go, probably dreading how the eulogy was going to land with some people as well. But it seemed to be generally accepted that it was the right thing at the right time. So really grateful for that.
Good for you.
And the other item on my gratitude list was having a break.
Oh.
So, although in fact, it's taken me quite a long time to get to the point where I know that we should be having a break, and then admitting, it's the right thing to do, just to have a short time away.
I think part of the anxiety about having a break is, I don't know about you, but part of my anxiety about having a break was always, well, what if nobody listens when we come back?
Yeah, exactly.
So if you do listen and you enjoy listening, do come back when we come back, because otherwise, it'd be very hard on us, and you wouldn't want to do that to us, would you?
No, our stress levels would arise.
Exactly. And if you're if you recently found us, then there's about 7 million episodes that you can go through while we're not around. There's
loads to go back on, and we'll be putting bits and pieces on the Facebook page as well during our summer holidays, just to keep that ticking over. As we're talking about, I might find some clips to put on Instagram of you saying ridiculous things or swearing. That might be quite funny. So we could do some outtakes and bloopers. There's plenty of them. There's loads, and we'd be what's the phrase these days? Deplatformed. Yeah, we'd be cancelled, wouldn't we? We'd be cancelled if that again came out. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I never say anything. Well, of course not. No, I couldn't as a therapist, could I? No, you couldn't. So that's it. I was just last sort of Spotify search of the season, or at this point in the season, is I expect you would, because when we talked about this, we were talking about heading these notes up as summer holidays, which didn't really fit in with the rest of my notes. So I scrapped that. So I didn't put on Summer Holiday by Cliff Richard. Oh, because that was what I anticipated doing. But I put a track from a group called We Three. I don't know if you remember them. It's We as in OUI, the French We. We Three, and it's called Break from the Old Routine. It's quite a corny sort of song that was in the charts at one time.
No, I don't remember it. And their band name's a bit pretentious.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But it fits perfectly for what we're covering today. So there it goes. It's on.
Well, you'll remember that last week I said that I wanted to know more about jazz music.
Yes.
Didn't know anything. Well, our old friend of the programme, Jez, Jez sent me a message and said, "Oh, you ought to check out Art Pepper." So I went looking for Art Pepper, and not only am I very much enjoying listening to his back catalogue, but when I read into his backstory, there's a whole raft of addiction stuff there.
Really?
Which inspired my blog this week as well. So,
wow.
So I'm very grateful. I should have been grateful to Jez this week, shouldn't I?
You should have been. You can put that on now if you like.
Yeah. Well, all right. I'm grateful to Jez.
That's it. I had to drag that out of you. That is good of him to respond in that manner. I know he's followed us from day one, and that's nice. I've never heard of it. Is art like it's short for Arthur, I suppose, is it? Like Art Pepper, like Art Garfunkel.
Art Garfunkel, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Art Pepper sounds a really good jazz name, doesn't it?
Well, it's good. It's good. I'm enjoying a bit of Art Pepper.
Oh, yeah, well, I might have to have a listen.
Welcome
in that
to
case.
Jazz Club. Right.
Okay, mate.
Are we done?
We're done.
Good. I've got to go and finish the dinner, cook some rice, and have a wee.
Okay, we'll have a lovely break.
Yeah, and I'll see you I'll see you over on the other side. Not after death.
No, not the fatal other side. No, but
quite. Yeah. All right. Later.
Okay, mate. Take it easy.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Sideways. We're so grateful for all your support and feedback. While we're away, do check out our Facebook page and Instagram if you're that way inclined. You'll find us, unsurprisingly, at Sideways Podcast. Most of all, though, don't forget about us, and the best way to avoid that is to subscribe in whichever podcast vehicle you happen to use. We'll be back at the beginning of September, tanned and rested. Well, rested. See you soon. Sideways was created by Graham Landy and Martin Pankhurst. If you want to read more about our work or sort through the extensive archive of past episodes, just visit grahamlandywellbeing.co.uk/sideways-podcast. You can follow us on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram at Sideways Podcast, and you can email us if you have a question or if there's something you'd like us to cover. But most of all, we want to tell you how grateful we are that you come and listen, and we ask that if you've enjoyed what you've heard, that you spread the word. And we'll see you next week.